There we go. All right. So I'm going to start up at the top um, with Brian. I have two Brians, so Brian McDonald. Um, and tell us a little bit about what you have going on. I know we got a chat before, but this is for the actual recording. What do you have going on, Brian?
The thing I got going on right now is I've been working on a novel with my characters Francis and Rory, and they've made it into I think three of the anthologies so far. So fans of the inked anthologies may have seen them. Um, and the novel I'm working on basically introduces them to each other, so you get to see them right from the very beginning. Um, you get to see how their relationship forms. You get to find out why the hell Queen Mab is trying to kill Rory. And you actually eventually get to find out why Francis is actually there. Why she keeps this big dumb guy around her. It's been a lot of fun. Um, and I my favorite thing is that it, I get to do extended runs of my dumb jokes. So if you enjoy dumb humor, it's going to be there, and I get to play the long game with it. So that's been my major thing. I'm hoping to finish it up by the summer and then get it cleaned up and then send it to Kevin in April and sit quietly and say my prayers to the universe and hope they like it. So that's where I am.
Well, we love Francis and Rory so far, so that's pretty good shot. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
All right. Thank you, Brian. All right. Rosemary, what are you up to? I know you got a book coming out.
I am currently in edits for my debut novel. The current title of book one is Burning Bridges. I have no idea whether that is going to remain the title. But I have signed an initial two book and then with Mocha Memoirs Press, and then if those do well enough, I can continue writing in the series, which is good because I've got a lot of series to write. So yeah, I am working on that. Obviously, we are still wending our way through immigration things here in Portugal and house hunting, and there's a lot on my plate, but I am trying to do the things.
Good, good. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing you get some more writing going. Rosemary is also a writing partner with me in a number of groups. That's sort of how I know what's going on in her life all the time is because,
Yeah.
we get to
Yeah.
chat
He
outside
he
of that.
still makes me go through the blind slush, so my name gets stripped off the stories, just
Yep,
same as everyone else's.
yep, yep. But she writes good. All right. Thank you, Rosemary. Anything else we got going on? I know you dropped some links in the chat. What are those two?
Just my author website and my handle on Instagram and Threads. Still trying to
Okay.
figure out how the kids do the Instagrams. um, I am not necessarily hip with the kids, but you know.
All right.
And I have a number of short stories published in various inked anthologies, most of them silly
Yes. Yeah.
to some extent. Not all of them, but there's usually some humor involved.
Yep. A lot of Jordan Kahn books.
Yeah. I mean, the Jordan Con anthology stories are always silly because it's always the same cast of characters and their ridiculous misadventures.
Yes. Yep. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Flora, tell us a little bit about what's going on there. And you will notice, if you're feedbacking, as Darren mentioned, because I can tell because you show up on my screen, I'll go ahead and mute you. So I do apologize for muting you earlier, but that was just to catch the feedback. If you'd go ahead and unmute Flora and tell us a little bit about what you got going on.
I'm currently just putting the finishing touches to a full-length novel featuring Millie and Emil, who are the characters in my short story in your book, the noisy neighbours detective thing, where they're in the short story The Home with the Hole. So I decided to write a full-length book with them, and it's set in the Isle of Man. It's called Motorbikes, Murder, Motorbikes, Mystery and Mystery. So it is called Motorbikes and Murder and Manx Mystery,
Nice.
and it's set around the time leading up to the TT races, which may or may not be a red herring. Other than that, I've got a paranormal romance short story due to be published in an anthology next February, where the main character is a wizard, and he meets up with a girl that he used to live next door to years ago, and they bump into each other, and they sort of get their relationship back together, and then they don't, and it's all sort of, will they, won't they, and that's going to be next February.
Nice, nice. So hopefully you'll shoot me that link so I can share it up on Ink's page, because love to see when you guys get into anthologies.
Thank you.
All right. Well, if you got any links you want to drop in the chat, feel free. And people can jump over and see what you got going on, follow you, do all the stuff that we can do to help each other, right? And yes, someone mentioned we love the hat.
Thank you.
All right. Anything else, or are we good?
That that is what I'm working on at the moment. Yeah.
All right. Well, great. Thank you, Flora.
Thank you.
All right. And Michelle, tell us a little bit about what you got going on.
I'm working on a couple short stories to be submitted this year. I also I'm celebrating my 55th birthday this month, which I'm super excited about because Native American, our lifespan is around 62. So I'm in the last stretch, however long that is. But I get super excited when I go to Powwow, which I will be going in November and December in Seattle. I will get to move to the front of the line. So in addition to writing, I also do quilting and native arts. I will be at the United Indians events in November and December, and then I'm going to be a guest at Mysticon, and I hope to see some of you all there.
Nice, nice. Now, where are you located?
I currently live in North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
Okay, all right.
I
So
grew
yeah.
up in Washington, so I go back there a lot.
Now you met Rob over at Con Carolinas, is that correct?
Yes.
Nice.
I met Rob the best way possible. It was just my husband came with me, but we were seated at a community table and I got to chat with him over breakfast. It was a great honor, a blessing. So meant to be, I guess.
Yes, he was very excited about your story, and one of the first questions when he was asking, because he's blind on what he can only read it, and he's like, I need to make sure that this is, own voice, or they have permission, because I love the story, but I need to know, more before I can say yes. And then when I exposed, the name and your comments in the thing, and he's like, oh yes. And he was off the chart. So anyway, it's always great to see, it was great to see that, because especially with his, it is sensitive to make sure that in that context, that we're being as diligent and respectful as possible, to make sure that the stories that are being told in some cases have to come from a certain certain voice.
And so my short story, A Place for Mom, will be in the Red Line. And I am a Lakota member. I'm an enrolled member. I live off the reservation. I always have lived off the reservation. I'm the first generation to be born off the res. So that story really explores themes like I think people are more familiar with the missing and murdered Indigenous women. And the women who raised us are still struggling with generational trauma. So I kind of explored that in that, like, our moms are still not whole, even though like
Right.
they suffer from the traumas of the boarding schools or like nobody in my family has. I've been touched by the boarding school trauma because my grandmother went to boarding school and everybody I know, either their grandmother or their parents attended boarding schools.
Yeah.
So that's kind of that horror element
Yeah.
in there.
Yeah.
So
And those are stories that need to be out here. They need to be, written down, codified and placed someplace so they can't be erased.
Right.
And that's, and sometimes time erases it, sometimes the system does, but either way. Anyway, really
Yeah.
grateful that you joined Beyond the Red Line. And I see that I just noted I got Robin here, so we'll hear from him near the end. So
Yeah, so I'm super excited and I look forward to reading it and
yeah.
hope to see you all soon.
Thank you, Michelle. I appreciate it. And
Thank
I'm
you.
sure I'll see you around at Carolina Cons. All right.
Yep.
Beverly, give us a little hint about what you got going on. Beverly's been in a bunch of her anthologies, so I know her from a couple other places, so I am looking forward to hearing what she has going on. Beverly?
Okay.
There you go.
Hear me, right?
I can hear you.
Okay. I finished the first in a new mystery series, and I'm shopping it around to agents.
Nice.
Is that a big deal? It's an amateur sleuth mystery. My character is a Jungian psychiatrist. I'm a retired psychiatrist, by the way, and he uses his slightly uncanny abilities to read people instead of traditional forensic clues to solve murders. He lives in a vintage condominium building, very much like one my husband and I used to live in, and the whole um, um, tension in the building is about scrapping their elevator. They have a human operated elevator, the only one left in the state. And of course, they want to modernize it, and half the building wants it to stay like it is because they're into preservation, and the other half wants it modernized to be more convenient, and they're literally at each other's throats. And this was a real deal that we went through when we were living there. So I kind of blew it up and used it as a basis for my mystery. It's called What Comes Down. And fingers are crossed. I don't know how many here have gone through that trek of trying to find an agent. I had one a long time ago when I had my historical mystery set in Venice, but that agent has retired and I have to kind of start all over again. So I just don't know how long I'm going to keep going. It takes a whole lot of time to research and
Yeah.
form your query just right and all that. So, and but what's fun lately is short stories. That's always my fun. My latest one came out in Sleuth Detectives Nosy Neighbors 3, about a couple of twin brothers who are fatally ambitious and vying for the same promotion at their investment company, Three Fingers of Fate. And that one was a lot of fun to write. And I have to tell you, Kevin, I thought it was cursed. I thought the story was cursed because I wrote it about 10 years ago. It was in 3 different anthologies. I mean, it was submitted and accepted, but before it was published, all of those 3 anthologies bit the dust for one reason or another. And I actually put the thing away for a while. I thought, no. And I got it out again and, did my usual little editing bit, but also, did the saging and the crystals around it. So I hope I broke the curse. So anyway,
Well,
that's
we're still here, so we're okay.
hey, maybe it just turned it all around.
Well, good. I'm really good luck on the agent. I mean, that can be such for people who have done it. I know a lot of people have, that have gone through that effort, and um, it is a rough course. And even then, when you do, they've got to then find some place for the story. So it's not like, oh, I got an agent and I'm done. It's like an agent, and now, you know, do we find, someone that's going to move forward on it. So good luck on that. I'm hoping for you, because
Thank you. Thank you. I've queried, I'll admit, 35 agents, and I've had rejections from about half of them.
Yep.
The other half are just still out there. I'm beginning to think the way to go is, with a smaller press. I
Yeah,
really,
I find that the money for me is in independent, because you're still doing all the work now, unless they're going to guarantee you a publicist, which is really the work that a publisher does, that
Right.
it's the work that will get your book seen as a publicist.
Right.
Publisher, unless you're really and I know too many people have been published by Tor that don't make any money. And I know too many people that are published by small press that don't make any money. And that it's the people who use that publishing and then go do their own publicist work that actually make money. So in reality, I'm always like, indie publish and look for a publicist, is truthfully where the money is if you're looking for the money part. If all you want is a name and you don't feel like being bothered with that, and it is a pain. Doing social media is a huge amount of time, but that becomes, to me. So I'm always happy with whatever way you get a book out. I'm excited. If you're trying to make money, there's ways to do that, and they usually include a lot of marketing, advertising, and time that you don't feel like putting into on the other side of it. Because I mean,
Because the writing's the fun part for most of us.
because writing's the fun part. I've got this year I think I'm at about 250,000 words, and I'm like, that's all I want to do, but it has to squeeze into all the other things I have going on. And some days I'm very resentful of the other things. And I'm like, I don't want to do this marketing campaign, but I know that I have to make 7 ads to get one of them that's going to actually feed my algorithm enough to get sales, you know? So I sit there and I build a whole bunch of stuff that never gets used. Whereas if I'm writing words, it gets used somewhere. Someone reads it. So anyway, good luck on all that. And I really hope that, you find someone, because, a good agent can also be part of your publicity team, which is one of the benefits of an agent, is they can tell you this is places that you need to be seen. And you go, okay, I'll go get seen there, because if that gets my book out there. So good luck is what I'm saying.
Thank you.
Thank you, Beverly. All right. Anne, go ahead and give us tell us what you are up to. Anne has one of the novels in Ink Pub that we published early on in the year. So I'm looking forward to seeing what she's got going on. Anne?
Okay, hi. So here it is.
There it is.
Let's harvest. What I've got going on, lots. Because I'm a musician as well, so summers are always really busy. So I've just got back from Italy. There are lots of festivals and things, but luckily I've had some time to squeeze in writing and querying and stuff like that. So I've got a short story coming up in an anthology in October. I'll pop the link in the thingy. I'm working on a sequel to this beast. And yeah, as some of you have said, and many of you know that once you sort of get going, it's very difficult to kind of let go of the world and the characters. And I kind of knew that once you start a revolution, 300 pages is just not enough to to sort of get everything sort of sorted out. So I've got some new characters coming up, new adventures, but also trying to keep the whole sort of revolution pot boiling in the background and trying to see where that leads and trying to explore also different parts of the world that I've created. So it's, yeah, writing is fun and world building is fun. And I would love to do that a lot more. But again, yeah, lots of things going on. And I'm also working on a couple of short stories. So yeah, keeping busy is what I'm doing, basically.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to book two. And I think, you mentioned the music part. We need to set up a soundtrack, just for those people who want to do it, shoot them over to, put a link in the back and say, and if you'd like to hear the music that inspires. Anne writes a wonderful world with a very character-based story that I absolutely loved because of the way the character, they're not just all friends, they're not all enemies, they're connected, but not. It was just it was fun because of the characters that were there, and we were given the depth of those characters, and they, and their all their quirks, all their assets, all their defects, all their parts. So anyway, it's fun. And yes, please put some links in there because people need to read your stuff more and more.
Absolutely. Thanks very
And
much.
and as I'm hoping you're going to start, um, doing like Brian and such does, and sending out copies over. And while you're doing your music, you need to have a little pile of books over there that you can personally sign. So.
Yeah. Unfortunately, as you know, the shipping business
Oh,
at the moment is a bit,
yeah,
let's say, tricky. So
yeah,
let's hope that clears up because I'd absolutely love to have
yeah.
and as you said, the soundtrack aspect really fascinating. Yeah. I'd love to explore that
Yeah.
a lot more. So yeah. But yeah, let's yeah, more stuff coming up, definitely.
Well, you're going to have some cold. You're up in Norway, right? You're up
Hmm?
in Norway,
I'm Finland.
Finland. I'm sorry. So you've got a cold winter coming up.
Yeah, it's not been that really hot this summer either, so that's why I was in Italy partly. But yeah, we have lots of sort of downtime, cold dark months. So yeah, time to read and write and make music and all the
Yeah.
fun stuff as well indoors.
Hide inside and get those words out. All right. Well,
Absolutely.
thank you so much. I appreciate it. And if you got any links, drop them in. Okay. Thank you, Anne. All right, Ellen Hunter. Did we get a sound?
I hope so.
There we go. I
Okay.
gotcha. I gotcha.
Okay, cool. This is the first one of these I've managed since the really early days. So yes, thank you for making it a time that's suitable for my time zone.
Yeah, I do try to flop them back and forth of one in the afternoon, one in the morning, my time, so that we can get West Coast and Europe over, and we definitely got a lot of Europe this month. So thank you.
So before I get stuck into me, I'll just hark back to Beverly's comment about killing off publishers. My very first story back in 2017 got accepted. Everything was ready to publish. There was even an entry on Amazon, and then the publisher vanished,
Oh,
which is quite disheartening for my very first outing.
yeah,
I did manage to reuse the story elsewhere, though.
good.
And also, you mentioned the difficulties people have with agents and publishers, and that indie is the way to go, and no one's making money. Have you come across the Publishing Rodeo podcast by Sonia Dean and someone else? It's very informative, but also thoroughly depressing. I'll drop a link in the chat. It's
Please do.
definitely worth listening to. It goes into the business and the winners and losers, mainly losers, unfortunately. Anyway, me, I confess I haven't been doing much writing for the past year or so, maybe longer. I was getting stuck on a couple of novels, and then discovered board gaming, which has taken up an awful lot of time and has been very relaxing, and also quite expensive. I'm just starting to go back into writing again. Still getting nowhere with those novels, but I've started creating a few more short stories. That's kind of where I am.
Now, aren't you, did I get somewhere on one of your on one of your comments that you are doing proofing for a company?
So the Andrew, I'm blanking on his surname, runs the Horrific Scribes website and anthologies and so on. I'm kind of informally proofreading for him. I'm named on the website, but that's really as far as it goes. It's not any more official than that. Been proofreading a few other bits and pieces for various people. Sometimes wonder if I'd be a better proofreader than I would be an author. But writing's fun, as people have said.
It probably pays more. You know, those of you who know Balsamo, April, she makes her living other than the bookstore, as she works. She was a court reporter, so she edits and proofs court reporting, and they pay very well. They pay by the page, all this kind of stuff, and that's where she actually does her living, because you know, she watches me, you know, spend all my time marketing to make money, and she's like, yeah, I'll just go over here, work for these people, and make money. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. So yeah, it is, you know, we are in a difficult business, but a fun one in my mind. I love the writing. So but yes, and whenever Ellen is in one of our anthologies, we get an extra proofer. Yay!
I can't resist. I'm just too picky. When an apostrophe is in the wrong place,
Yeah.
I just can't let it go.
Yeah. So if you've ever done a proof sheet with Inked, you'll see eventually Gavin Ellen will come in and just put in like 60 other comments in there, that, you know, we might want to look at these things. So I
Yes,
always
apologies
appreciate
to
it.
anyone that I've offended by doing that.
But you know, we always give it a look. So thank you, Ellen. And I am looking forward to seeing you get some more stuff out. You do some beautiful writing, and you really need to have fun with that. I hope you do.
Yes, hopefully getting back into it again gradually when I'm not being distracted by playing board games.
Yeah. Luckily, I only get that when I do a couple cons, and we have some friends that we go up to Atlanta to sometimes, and we'll play a night, and then it's over. So I don't get too distracted. But thank you. I appreciate it. All right, Renata. Renata has not only been in our anthologies, but is collecting stories for an upcoming queer anthology that we have. Renata, how are you doing, and what do you have going on outside of what I've already mentioned?
Yeah, good morning. I'm calling from Calgary, Alberta, Canada.
Nice.
Well, right now, what I'm working on is I have two books coming out next year. One of them is my debut poetry collection. It's called Eating Rice on Our Feet, which is a poetry about labor, about hunger, and about desire. It's being published by an independent publisher here in Alberta. Frontenac House. The other project I'm working on, the other book that I'm gonna be revising. It's starting in October. Is my memoir. The memoir. When I was working on it, I started writing the memoir in 2008 when I was taking courses writing memoirs from Gotham writers. I called it Redeeming Renato. But then along the way, when I was actually querying and I was trying to find a home for pens for this the memoir, it occurred to me that who the fuck is Renato? So I ended up changing the name of the memoir to Unpriesting, because a memoir is about it covers the 13 years I spent studying to become a Catholic priest in the Philippines and here in Canada, and in the end, choosing not to continue with the journey of becoming a priest because the church had wanted me to go back to the closet instead of me embracing being gay and being honest about it. So that's really what's at the heart of the memoir called Unpriesting. And then I'm also working and revising my debut novel, which it's been accepted, well, not in paper, but in principle, by a publisher that published an anthology that I was included in. So the novel is called Anatomy of Compersion. It's a literary novel about a woman, her bisexual husband, and his lover. And the novel is asking whether love can stretch wide enough to include someone else's happiness. If you might ask, the word compersion is not really officially in any lexicon, but the word compersion means it's the easiest way to explain the word is it's the opposite of jealousy. So it's the ability to be happy about the happiness of someone you love, even if you're not the cause of such happiness. And so that's what I've been busy with. I also have a short story collection. One of them, one of the stories will be the one published in the Yay All Queer, Free and Queer. But I have kind of parked that project, although the collection is finished. It has 6 short stories that were published somewhere else. But I have projects that I needed to prioritize, which are all debut books for me.
Nice. Yep. And I am looking forward to the anthology. So give a pitch to some of the authors here about what you're looking for. Because that's I think we have a great option with this anthology, and I'd like to see people dive into it, and we need submissions.
Yeah. So I'm working on the anthology. Let me open it here. It's called The Constellations of Becoming: Queer Futures and Other Worlds. So any speculative fiction, short stories that features the world of the queer world is what we're really looking for. Sorry. I should have been ready for this.
It is a little bit early over there.
Yeah, it is. So maybe it begins with an alien archive, a haunted apartment, a city that dreams, a dragon who refuses prophecy, a trans elder who remembers features everyone else has forgotten. So all those it's we're trying to capture so many things in this anthology. So but the working premise really is that the future and what's in the other worlds that we often ignore and not include in our storytelling is what we're looking for. It can be horror too. It can be magic realism. All the what's under the umbrella of speculative fiction is what we wanted to include in this anthology that I'm working with Kevin.
Yeah. And it's a pretty wide premise in my mind, because I think there's a lot of pieces that people could write that would fit in it. It's not that it's actually broader than a lot of the things. Like when we do the Cthulhu one, people tend to, want to, stick within a very tight genre because of the title. In this, I feel like it's very, because you're very open to all speculative, right? You know, and it could be, from your definition, it could be a romance, because you're not like, saying that, I need to have a specific element. So I think it's wide open. But and I just saw Darren said he's going to be put something up, and I would love that because Darren writes well. I'd like to see that. So hopefully we'll get more in there, because I really, I know we're going to make this happen. It's just a question of how long do we have to leave it open to get submissions, because we may get the number, but we need to,
Quality.
yeah, we're not always going to be able to look at this and say, this is something I really want to, stand with, right? If your name's going to be on it, it's got to have something that, it's like, okay, it can be polished, or, I love it, kind of stuff. So I get that. When, like, Rob has dealt with the same thing when he was dealing with his anthology, picking through that, the editor has to work with that, with what they have, and we want more for Renato to work with. But I'm looking
So,
forward to it. I really am, and I can't wait to see what we come up with. But I know we'll have some great stuff.
thanks, Kevin.
All right. Anything else going in there, Renato, or are we good?
We're good, thank you. Yeah, if you have something, if you have written a story that you're waiting to find a home, and it happens to have a queer character, Constellations of Becoming, Queer Futures in Other Worlds. Thank you.
Thank you, Renato. I appreciate it. All right. Robert. Robert, how are we doing over there? I don't know if I got a chance to do a sound check.
Yeah, no, good.
Yeah, we do.
Morning, out here in downtown Seattle.
So you have an early morning as well.
Yes, who knew? Who knew the world existed at this time of day? It's crazy. There's people out and about and everything. Yeah, no, howdy, good morning, good afternoon, or whatever works. Yeah, so what's going on? So this is actually, I'm relatively new to the game, but this is my first piece with Inked. So everything else I've got going on is sadly with other publishers, other people. So I've got a series of I write mostly crime, and so I've got a series in Thrill Ride magazine of an unnamed group of New Jersey musicians from E Street who save the world and get inspired to write songs. And that next issue comes out in September, where they might or might not get inspired to write a song that might or might not be Hungry Heart. And I also write a series of cozies for a podcast about a saucy hairdresser who believes his license to cut hair also is a license to solve crime. And that's called Murder, Rinse, Repeat. And the fourth one in that series comes out in either September or November. So that's going. And I've been shopping a couple of pilots, and I've got a feature that will have some news maybe by the time this gets put up on YouTube, but not news that I can share now.
Okay.
So check the socials and or my website, which is thirdactmedia.com. I can't put it in the chat because my keyboard's over here and my monitor's over there. So just thirdactmedia.com. And I think that's it. I think that's my life in a nutshell right now.
All right. Well, when you get those things open up, always feel free to share with me any Facebook posts that you have going on. One of the reasons Inked even exists is that early on I realized, we still had limitations on where we could get stories out, and it was shrinking. And
it still is.
And that's, so mine was, then let's do anthologies. And it started all the way back before I'd even published the first one of my book. I was working with Dave Farland and his Apex group. And I broached him on this, and my goal, and he's like, well, what's your goal? Because anthologies don't make money. And he's like, there was a time when he was writing heavily that that magazines did make money. And there was a strong thing. So you see a lot of anthologies start, die. And because of that, it's shrinking the opportunity for short stories to get out. So this was me and David, talking, and he said, just set your, you can do anything you want, but understand your goals. If you're looking to make money off of doing anthologies, find a different career. But if you want to get stories out there, do that, because there's a need for people to be exposed, to have your work get out there and be seen. So everything that we do, we're very focused at Inked. If you have something coming on, and I say this in the emails, in the number of updates that I give you guys, sorry about that. I get a little heavy, but I want you to know what's going on. But I do say that if you've got an event coming up, we don't have a huge view, but we usually get 1,500 eyes to 2,000 eyes per post on Inked Pub. And that doesn't mean that a bunch of people are going to react, but it just shows in their feed. So if you have something coming up, share me your Facebook post and I'll throw it up there.
Cool.
And then it's a few more eyes seeing it, because that's all we're here for. It's not like any of us are coming out of this with, big fat pockets of cash. Certainly not at Inked, with token payments. So any other chance that you get, someone to follow you is much bigger than anything else. If we can get someone can win an award, or someone can get eyes on their product, that's where we need to go. So that's what we aim for. So when you got your stuff coming out, throw it to me. It may not get much, but if it gets another 1,000 eyes on it,
yeah, absolutely, cool.
then it's something. Anyway, whatever we can do. But anyway, great to hear from you, Robert. And I'm really grateful that
no, thanks for the opportunity. This is great.
Jumped in here, and hope you're having a good day out there, or a good morning.
Time will tell.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Darren, how are we doing? Haven't seen you for a while.
Doing very well, thank you. I'm glad to be here. I've been in a few of the Inked anthologies, most recently Behind the Shadows 4. Very excited to see that story take flight. What I'm currently working on, I'm currently in a Master's of Fine Arts program in creative writing through Western Colorado University.
Yes.
So I'm about halfway through the program, beginning work on my thesis, which is essentially a full-length novel. It is a gay romantasy story set in a secondary world with dark gods, and maybe a little bit of murder too. I also have an urban fantasy Monster Hunters meets Jewish mythology on query presently, so I understand that feeling that others have mentioned. I have sent it into the void, and now I wait for it to call back. But I'm very excited for what Inked is doing, and I'm really excited to keep working on the projects that I've got going. I do plan to submit to Constellations. As I said in the comments, I'm just figuring out which story might be the best fit for it.
Good. Now are you out in Colorado? I know that's where the college is.
I'm actually in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So
Okay.
Colorado is a nice summer vacation, or February vacation for Superstars writing seminars, which is how I learned about the MFA program.
Yeah.
But it's a beautiful state, and I'm glad every time I get to go.
Now with your MFA, is that all online, or do you have to go out for a couple of weeks?
It's predominantly online, but they call it a low residency program.
Okay. So you do go
So
out.
in the summer, there's about 8 days in Colorado on campus. It's a fantastic time to build community with fellow authors and students, and it's really a highlight of the year for me.
Good. Yeah. Superstars just became like encroach on another event that I actually is more of is a reader opportunity for me. So that's why haven't been out there, but it was so much fun to go out in that snow every year. I mean, not for you, because you're already coming out of
I
snow.
get plenty of snow in Milwaukee. It's the least favorite thing about the city that I have.
But for me here in North Florida, I was like, ooh, I get to go take pictures of something with snow on it. And people are like, have fun, bye. But anyway, Darren, thank you, and I appreciate you coming out. Drop any links you got going on.
Will do.
Love to see those going on, and I really do hope you get something for Renato going. And of course, he won't know it's you until the end. But that's the goal is to try.
That's a good thing. I appreciate the blind submission process. I think it really lets the story speak for itself.
And that is really about it, and we have readers that go through and they have no idea. And like sometimes, I have friends go through and I'm just like, ouch, I just, want to I want to see everything. I want to see everything get through, but truthfully, you can only fit so many in there, and it does need to be up to the editor to see what they like. Because editors will argue with me. It isn't just, it is, they have their things they like. And I've put in stories to one piece, and my wife, was doing the editing behind it, is like, I don't like this story. I'm like, I got to pick it. Sorry. I liked it, and that's okay. But it is hard for me in the end when I have to do like the go back and forth and look at who got in and rejections and be like, oh, but I wanted hers to get in. But
Yeah.
I don't get, that's one reason why I do other editors, is so that we get flavors for the different anthologies. And I'm dying to see what Renato's flavor is here.
Yeah.
We'll,
And
we'll
I've
get,
spoken with other editors who reiterate that it's not necessarily a bad story if it doesn't get in. You can have really good stories that just they don't speak with the other stories in the anthology as
yeah,
well.
yeah,
And so it's not just the quality of one story, but the quality of the collection.
yeah. And my wife has come back and been like, I love these two stories, but they both are talking about the same thing.
Hmm.
And it's too noticeable. And if I put them in, it would almost seem like I just had the same person write two different stories. And
Yeah,
I'm like, ouch. Then give me your decision. So anyway, thank you, Darren. I appreciate you coming out here today.
absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And now Brian Hansen. Not as early, but Arizona. Brian has one of our novels out, which is a Skies of Fire, which has been doing really well. I've been doing a lot of his publicity out there, which he's done amazing at. Brian, how you doing?
Doing well, thank you. Yes, my debut novel is out from Inked, and I'll show you the cover here.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, the short pitch is Dragons in World War One, and also the Catholic Church is allied with the dragons, and it made for some interesting villains, especially Cardinal Lanzo Salucci. And I've been, well, last Thursday, I was at a bookstore doing a reading with fellow author Lauren Tiffall. And that was a scary moment because at the time it was supposed to start, we had 4 people there. But 20 minutes later, we had most of the seats filled. And so we had at least a couple of dozen or so.
Nice.
And so I moved 9 books, and the bookstore took 3 for their shelves. So it worked out pretty well.
Good. Good.
Yeah. And I'm working on the next book, Skies of Blood and Fury. And I screwed it up really badly. I was into the 3rd act and realized this is not going to work. The way too much of the action was going to take place off screen. It would be offset and not satisfying. And I had to ditch probably a good 30,000 words or maybe more and go back to the beginning, add a new POV character. So now there's 4 in this one, and proceed forward from there. And now it looks like it's going to be a trilogy, not a duology. So I've made a lot more work for myself, but I think the story is going to be a heck of a lot better. I think I'll have a solid second book, and the climax I planned for the second book is now going to be in the 3rd book, and that climax should be a banger and satisfying now. So
Good. Good.
yes. And other things, in the last 2 months, I've had 3 short story acceptances.
Good.
Angry Gable Press, Daft Notions, and Wild Blood. So I haven't been writing any short stories this year, but I'm still sending them out. So I've had a little luck there. So it's been good. And at the second to last weekend in August, I'll be at Bubonicon, which is Albuquerque's sci-fi fantasy convention. And I'm going to be on 3 different panels, and I'm also doing my own room with a reading. So I'm looking forward to that. It'll be my 4th appearance at Bubonicon.
Nice. Nice. God, you were just jamming out there.
Trying to jam, yes.
Yeah, me and Brian have been, navigating the whole drop ship timing of books and we lived, I mean, one of those, was it down to like 11 a.m. in the morning? You got the book?
Yes, it was the day of my reading at a local gallery, and the books thankfully arrived. Otherwise, I only had, I think, 3 on me. And yeah, I sold, I think it was 12 or 14 at that
Yeah.
event. So yeah, I really felt good about that. And if those books didn't arrive, I mean, I had, well, like, let me write down your name. I mean, this is all in my small town of Mountain Air, New Mexico. And it's like I could deliver them, but I didn't have to. The books arrived and I rushed to the gallery with my box full of books. So yeah, it worked out.
Yeah, we were chatting back and forth days till it. It's like I knew he was just like dying there, like please, please, please arrive.
Yes. I was asking, is it possible to expedite? How does this work? Yeah, so
Yeah, and Ingram is notorious for you can pay a whole bunch of money to expedite, but you have to do so well ahead of time, is not the day of.
yeah.
And still not delivering them in a time that, works. So, it's well known to just don't, because they will, they'll eat up your money and then not actually deliver. So
Mm,
it's much better to plan way ahead.
yes.
But Brian is his own publicist. He's amazing. I mean, as far as getting books sold, does very well because he gets out there, he hustles, he gets in touch with people, makes friends, makes connections. And talked about this, I think, a little while ago. Sort of how does that happen? I think that's up on YouTube, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yeah, we were talking about networking
Yep.
and how I started essentially way before I wrote this or any novel.
Yeah.
I was just writing short stories. I went to the Taoist Toolbox, which is a Clarion type of deal.
Yeah.
And I made so many connections there with Walter John Williams, even, and Nancy Kress. I tried to get Nancy Kress to blurb on the novel, but this particular novel wasn't her thing. And also, she's super busy. So. But yeah, through Tao's Toolbox, I connected with a critique group here in New Mexico. And the most famous person in the group currently is Rebecca Roanhorse, Hugo winner. She's really awesome, so generous with her time. And she has got a great eye for critique and shaping up a story. And it's been super beneficial. And from all these people, I make other connections. Like that's how I got the bookstore deal last week.
Yep.
And so other of these authors have done readings at this bookstore, and then they heard about me, and then they went forward with ours. So just keep talking to people. Show up at author events, tell them you love their book, and try to make that little connection with them. And telling a writer you love their work, or you're reading their work, or you just bought a book, of course, we all love that. So yeah, and keep your face out there along with your internet presence.
Yeah. Visibility is king. But Brian, can't wait. Looking forward to the new stuff.
I'm plugging away. I'm just way behind right now.
Hey, when it gets done, it gets done. And truthfully, it all happens. But happening well is important. So
yes, I totally agree.
all right. Brian, thank you. All right, so let's jump over to Sean. There we go.
What have I got going on now? I have a short novelette accepted in another anthology this summer, so that'll be coming out in the fall, I think, as well. I do a lot of poetry or I do all poetry on my Patreon, so I'm also working on curating the stuff from the pandemic, because I have a lot of pandemic poetry, and from my recovery from a recent medical issue. So that's all kind of going to go into a poetry collection. And I'm working on I should say almost done my second short story collection of, I call them Dear Sean letters. So Dear Sean letter #1 has been out for a little while, and they're basically the rejected stories that I couldn't sell anywhere else. I thought, well, let's put them together in their own collection and give a clever little subtitle and see what happens. Which, I'm not a millionaire off of that yet, but it's had some good reactions to it. I'll drop the link in a minute. Um, in general, other than getting ready for Multiverse and soon start the process of getting ready for JordanCon next year, I've mostly been working on some shorter pulp style novels that with much better modern sensibilities than some of the originals. So yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing at the moment.
Nice. Nice. And yeah, we got Sean's story coming out here in Rob's anthology. So looking forward to that, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was very stoked about it. I've watched Rob sort of grow from the beginning, and he's fantastic. He's a fantastic writer. So when he was doing this, I thought, well, I'm going to put something in there because you know, just to see what happens with it, and obviously it got accepted. So I was really happy about that.
Yep. Yep. Always fun stuff. And yeah, we got Sean does does staff over at JordanCon. So the rest, a certain portion of the year becomes a little more hectic as we aim towards it coming up in April. So, but that, you know,
Sure.
it is a fun time as well. So,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
all right. Oh, yes. And Go Indie Now. Why don't you plug that a little bit, Sean? Give us this is a great place for, we just mentioned visibility. We just mentioned
Right.
making connections for getting visible and for other such. So, Sean, plug Go Indie because this is a place where visibility happens.
Absolutely. So, Go Indie Now, started by Joe Compton many years ago. I only really started participating about 21, 22, and over the last few years, I've participated a lot more now. It is an indie idea. Um, Joe started with indie movie reviews and a weekly show called This Week in Indies. We're currently on hiatus until after DragonCon, so we do take a break. So now we both host it. He'll host one week, I'll host the other. And This Week in Indies is where authors can come and talk about subjects. We cover the subjects, but we have a lot of authors who come and give their opinions. And we get pretty good views on that for a weekly show that's really kind of very nerdy in regard to it's focused obviously on writing or other creative concepts, right? We sometimes branch out into gaming, sometimes branch out into movies. I've come along, so we have a lot of author friends who are doing shows on there. Trope or Not to Trope, which is Anita Stewart, A.F. Stewart, um, and First Time for Everything. That's another show we have. So we have a couple of those going on. Joe does a show called 21 Grams where he speaks to authors and creatives, diving deep. I have a show that we just finished the first season called Zero Exposition, where we talk to authors and writers about writing. So we're looking forward to season 2 of that. And if you're a gamer, sometimes board gamer, but mostly role-playing games, we have a bunch of role-playing content as well. I do How Indies Roll, which is sort of me just being random and having a conversation. Every month we do Zero Means You're Dead, where we talk about what's coming up in indie games, as well as I would usually have an interview. July, we had an interview with, I get his name right, Balagan Ojitade, about the game Kikanga that he created alongside Milton Davis. I mean, some of you may know Milton's name. So it's great. It's Go Indie Now is if you're an author, you want to get involved with us, you can message me on Facebook or Joe Compton on Facebook, or you can go to our Go Indie Now. We have a couple of groups on there. I'll see if I can get one of the links and drop it in.
Yeah,
For people.
definitely drop links in there because this is a place for people to, see what's going on over there, first of all, right? And then if they find a place that they're, this is a spot where I could, I could work in, then you contact them. I know I've been on a couple because of where I'm at, like multiverse. They'll invite the multiverse group, authors to come and do chats, and I'll be like, yeah, I'm in, put me in a slot, and you chat for I think a half an hour or so and do it. It's all visibility, guys. Truthfully, you want someone to type in your name. That's why I use my initial A, because there's too many damn Kevin Davises. But you type Kevin A. Davis and you do a search, and I fill up a couple pages now just because I keep putting myself out there. And when someone says, well, do you want to? The answer should be yes, pretty much before, they finish asking the question, because it's just going to give you visibility for the most case. I'm obviously joking about that, but to a certain extent, you do want to be visible as much as possible. So when someone says, will you take a half an hour on a Thursday night to do this? You go, yes. And you get out there and fill content and get found. So anyway, Joe, I appreciate that. And whatever links you can throw up there would be great, so that people here can go jump on and see what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to let folks know, it's not just genre writers; it's movie creators, nonfiction writers,
Yeah,
everything, everything.
Yep. Yeah. I'm focused on the author stuff, right?
Right. Yeah.
All right, Sean. Thank you very much. Anything else we got going on?
Not really.
Okay.
Like I said, I'm getting ready for multiverse, so we're doing Taskmaster for multiverse in my track. I track direct gaming, and so we're going to be doing Taskmaster. If you're a Taskmaster fan, we're doing that this year at multiverse.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, John. John, what do we got going on out there?
Okay, this John?
Yep.
Hear me?
How you doing? I can hear
Okay,
you.
good. Yeah, thanks. I've got a book coming out, my second one in a series, and it's one of those where it's gone through every editing process, and I'm just waiting. Like every minute, I keep checking, like when is the exact day it comes out. And it is an election thriller, so that's why I really want to get it out so I can start getting it to people before the election. I'll drop the cover in. It's a sequel to my first. Oh, I think I'll drop it in. Maybe I can't. For some reason, I'm trying to copy it. Oh, there we go. Might take a second. But it's about a third party and characters from my first novel about a product placement scandal, uncovering that. New people join this third party. The third party starts doing really well, and then strange things start happening to anyone who joins this party. And so you're like, okay, because the system is essentially fighting back.
Right. Nice.
I've had a few short stories get through here and there. The ones from Ink Publishers are always my favorite. And this morning, when I woke up a little early, I actually read one of the short stories from the Duos anthology. So that was great to do. Those are the short stories that I read now to get me thinking about the ones I'm going to write.
Good. And it's also great to, when an editor has been doing a lot, you can definitely tell what their pick and style is. So Robin has her own style. April A. Balsamo has her own. I have mine. And it's always good to, if check. And then if nothing else, you can just read Renato's story that he wrote and be like, well, then he obviously likes this stuff, right?
Mm-hmm. And as I posted in the chat, there was like yesterday I was in an author talk, and these are people who are like legends in the field, and somebody asked about dealing with rejection, and the person said, "What's a rejection?" And another person's like, "Oh, I have 1,300 published stories, short stories that I've done." And another person was like, "Oh yeah, I got my first published when I was 16 or something like that, and it was in Ellery Queen or Alfred Hitchcock, magazine or so." And it was like, there wasn't a lot of helpful stuff. So, but I'm hearing a lot more helpful stuff from this group. So, thanks.
Yeah, yeah. Nothing better than getting beat up a little bit to turn on and have some actual tips. So it's always good to hear it, and we don't have to. We're not out on a huge screen out there making sure that people believe we're something. We're here amongst ourselves. So I appreciate that. All right, John, when you get your stuff, get dates for your stuff, make sure to send them over if you can to
Oh,
ink.
sure.
So I'd love to I'd love to, it makes, you have no idea how much fun it is to have someone in a short story and then be able to throw out their novel for, as a link to go to share that link, because I love watching us actually make it, do stuff. And it's a huge world, a ton of readers. There's no competition in reality except trying to, fight at the moment, I believe AI, filling the pipeline. But, if it was just us, we've got plenty of people that want
Mhm.
to read.
If I could offer some advice to everybody here at the group, one thing I've learned, and this came out, I'm working on an article because I'm also a columnist. I write a weekly column, is don't ignore the younger readers. The younger readers, the Gen Z people are really ramping up. I've done 2 book festivals and I sold plenty to younger readers who they love it. And not only that, they don't just want the ebook. Like I said, oh, are you interested in the ebook version? No, they want the hardback book thing. They want a really well put together hardback.
Yep.
And even when given an option, one of my students is a baseball player. He was on a long road trip to Mississippi, and I told him, I said, "Oh, He said, I want to read your book." And I said, "Okay, well, here, I'll send you a link." And he goes, "Actually, do you have a hard copy? I want to read that."
Yep.
And he said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I can't give it back to you just yet. My dad is now reading it."
Yep. Nice. Yeah, we have a bookstore, so we definitely get to see, a large amount of interest, you know, in, people wanting to, we sell used and new. So we get a ton of people walking in and people like, oh, people don't read anymore, or kids don't read. And we're like, no, they do. They really do.
Mhm.
Old people read, young people read. They
Right.
they really do. So I think our observation, and if you actually go sit in a bookstore and drink a cup of coffee, you will see it's a wide variety of people that love to read. So anyway, the more we can get people out there reading, better. And I don't think there's an end to it. At this point, we like to consume media. We just consume it in a bunch of different ways.
Right.
So, all right, John, thank you so much. All right, Erica. I'll make sure I still have you on. Yep, there we go.
That's me.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm a little tired because I had work at 5 a.m. So I'm here though, and I'm excited.
So where are you located?
Georgia. So probably like 15 minutes south of the airport.
Okay.
Yeah, the Hartsville.
Okay. So what do you have going on, Erica? Are
Um,
you going to be heading up to Multiverse?
I will. I don't know why my camera keeps cutting out, so I'm just gonna keep talking. I'm actually gonna be a guest at Multiverse. Someone told me last year to just apply to be a guest, and I went for it, and now I'm a guest. So I'm really excited about that. Um, Other than that, I am going to be working on another story. The one that I submitted to this anthology, to Beyond the Red Line, is a religious horror, and somehow I think it was Sean actually, because Sean is really go on posting places that you could submit to in the writers troupe group, and it's with the Laughing Man House Publishing. They have a magazine where they exclusively publish religious horror, and their current theme is a new plague. And I've been thinking about it so much. I'm also like going through something with an ex friend of mine, and it's inspiring me a lot with the story. So yeah, that's what I'm working on.
Nice, nice. Well, we're definitely looking forward to seeing more from you, and it's exciting to know that you'll be at Multiverse and get a chance to say hello and all that stuff, because um, Rob was very excited, and I know that that's been a lot of where I've got a chance to see some new work coming in. It's very exciting.
Yeah, I've seen your face quite a bit. Multiverse is also where I met Rob, who is so awesome. I love Rob. And Rob, I'm pretty sure it was someone said that Rob is a fantastic writer, and I don't think I've read anything of his that I didn't like, that I didn't read twice. And I'm honestly so honored to have my story been read, and it's been like, yeah, I like this story. And someone also spoke to the how this was an anonymous submission, so that added like another layer of like, I did that. I did that. And I'm so excited to do more. This is the first story I've had accepted. I love my rejections. So everybody out there, love your rejections. And Brian put it nicely. Rejections are the battle scars that remind you of how hard you fought to get here and how hard you're gonna have to fight to keep going. And I'm proud of all mine as well, Brian. Totally agree.
Yeah, and that was when I first saw a piece from Rob. It was on a very specific theme, and he hit the theme so hard that I reached out at that point early and said, I want to make sure that I use this story. And I know that Rob because I got to see Rob's comments when he was going through the edits. We work on a page together. And I know that Rob had the exact same feeling on some of these stories, which is like when you're reading through, there's good stories, and then there's like, the story where you're just like, oh, this needs to absolutely be in because it meets the theme. And since Rob was doing a heavily themed anthology, it's a different, like when you're doing the horror, there's a lot of variations in horror, but when you're working on a very tight theme. So anyway, I was so glad that Rob ended up with stories that he could really, really go for. And I'm looking forward to hearing Rob at the end here because we do have him coming up in a little bit. But Erica, yes, I'm hoping we get to actually introduce at Multiverse because I get to see a bunch of people there, but not everyone do I know who they are, what they're doing. And now I know a little bit more about you. I'm delighted to look forward to seeing you.
I'll make sure I step up and say hi too. I'm a little like right now I seem like so confident, I'm sure, but in person I'm like, should I say? But I will. And slowly but surely my confidence will build.
It will, especially as Brian mentioned it, Sean's mentioned it, getting connections and people is huge. Just because they'll not only is it opportunity, but it's support. It really is about people being able to say, do that, do it. When you're asking yourself, but do I want to step into that light? Do I want to walk over to that group? So anyway, I'm looking forward to it, and I will see you soon. It's only a couple months away. So thank you.
Okay, sorry I left, but I'm back now.
Okay. So anything else, or are we good?
I'm totally good. It was nice meeting everyone and hearing what everyone's got going on. It's all pretty exciting. I clicked every link. I've clicked every link.
So you got all those tabs open.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Erica.
Yes, no problem.
All right, Jordan. I think Jordan's got a different time zone as well. Where are you calling out of, Jordan?
Oh, hi. So glad you switched to a time zone where we can attend us guys from Europe. Although if I tell you that I come from Ohrid, Macedonia, you're probably not gonna know where that place is.
Macedonia, I got.
Yeah. So I just come back from Meet the Authors in another town. I drove 2 hours just to get on time for this back, and I'm glad I made it. So it's my first meet and greet.
Yes. So what do you got? What do you got going on? You're out there doing a lot of work.
Yeah, I'm like, for this period of the year, I work as a guide, so as a tour guide. So I work with tourists coming from the Netherlands, mostly UK, and some individuals. Since I live at the oldest lake in Europe, so that's an inspiration for writing. And it works perfectly for me because I got 6 months to work and 6 months off for writing.
Okay.
And I've got my short story collection out just before the season started this spring, and managed to do some promotions. I've got two planned for August. Well, one for August, one for September. And I've wrapped up my trilogy. So my novel is about to get out in September. Unfortunately, I write in Macedonian, which is Cyrillic letters. Oh my God, it's blurred. Give me just a second to see how to unblur it. Anyway, it's Cyrillic. We use Cyrillic alphabet. So I wrapped it up, but unfortunately, unlike you guys here, we don't work with editors. So basically, I have to do editing myself. And this is my eighth novel, and I learned a lot along the way. I've learned mistakes that I've been making because there were some friends who've done some editing, read my books, pointed out some of my repetitive mistakes. So I'm doing my best to edit my book, because when I send it to my publisher, they will just sign their name as an editor. Usually they don't have enough time. Yes, I know, Rob. Most of the time it's like everyone's here on some short timeline that they need to do something. So it's why what I do, it's usually I send my books to my readers, and different type of readers, or readers that read different type of books. I've sent it to some of my colleagues, and I wait for the feedback, and then I adjust. I know some of the things that they can catch, I will catch it, that's okay. But with my first draft, I want to check the story, the character, the pace of the story. And especially now that this is the end of my trilogy, it's a paranormal alternative history in our country. That while we were part of Yugoslavia, so Macedonia was part of Yugoslavia, we were a communist country. So Tito has been making experiments, and in 2015, 2016, we see the consequences of those experiments. So you got a little bit, not paranormal, but it's kind of science fiction. That kind of, used epistolary technique. It was challenging to write, but I love it because I'm passionate about writing. So I just enjoy writing. And Kevin, I haven't had the time. I really want to send you a story for the Cthulhu. I've got a story that's been written in 2010.
Well, get it over there, because she's going to be looking soon, doing her reviews. So we're running it through readers now.
I was supposed to have a day off tomorrow, but I don't have the day off tomorrow. They called me, I'm booked for another tour tomorrow, and also the following day. So I don't know if I'll manage. I hope so.
So are your who are the customers, who are the patrons that are on your book tour? I mean, on your
Today it was like a summer book fair organized by, like, in communism we had homes of culture. Basically, it's something that functioned as cinema, theater, and everything else. So my publisher had an incident. Their storage room with the books got flooded.
Oh.
Yes, I know. So they decided to help the publisher. They invited 3 local authors to go and attend an event, so they can sell as much as book possible by the publisher.
Okay, good. Well, that was fun.
So it was cool.
Good. And your day job, who are the people that you do tours to? Are they so they're tourists, right?
Yeah. Mostly, like, we've got charters coming from the Netherlands and UK.
Okay.
So those are the scope of my guiding tours. But I'll tell you one thing: if you're a writer, this is like the perfect job, because you meet people, you meet different type of people, you hear different stories, because I always interact with the people, and I like to hear the stories, and it's very easy to find inspiration in my daily job. I also work as a editor-in-chief in a literary magazine here, which is, well, basically it's art magazine. And what we do, it's published only online, but we do prose, poetry, we do art, also comics. So we try to be as vast as possible in sense of art. And our 13th number, it's about to come out this autumn, late September.
So when you're doing the tours, do you have a big satchel of your books with you so you can sell them to the tourists?
You know, I was like, it would be perfect because people ask, you know, there's readers among them and you talk about books. And I'm always like, I'll be honest, like this meeting is motivating because I was afraid to self-publish. I'm talking internationally. I've translated one of my books, which actually was firstly written in English, like half of the book was written in English. But during the COVID, I decided to publish locally and see how it goes.
Yeah.
And I think that I finally have the courage to go international. But the thing is, you already talked about it. If you do self-publishing, it's so much of your writing time that you have to invest into, like, you know, our national market is like 2-3 groups, readers group that I interact with, few influencers that I'm friends with, even before they became bookstagrammers.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, it's easy because we're 2.4 million people.
Yeah.
So the readers market, hopefully it's 100,000 people. I like to believe that, but it's not.
Yeah.
So it's easier to work things out on a smaller market. But going international, yeah,
No, but
I
people
hope
do,
so.
people do it, and some people make well. It's connections, it's all that stuff. You know, for me, it's like, you know, do it, and then, you know, um, it's not like you're gonna stop writing. It's the only book you'll have. So if you put a book
Exactly.
out and do something and it doesn't work, I have plenty of books that I have one series that sells really well, and I have other series that sell okay, and I have books that don't sell at all. And that's
Yeah.
okay. Every one of them was an experience for me, and I still put them out there. And every once in a while, someone buys it, and I'm like, "Hey, wow, one of those sold." Oh, well.
Look, you got my fear spot on. The problem is, I had a book ready, but my first published book was a thriller because I noticed that that's what the market wants. It's a dark thriller with dark humor in it a lot, and it went really well. That I'm almost gonna get I'm 50 books out to get my third edition published, and it was published in 2021. So for our market, that's successful.
Good.
And I was afraid to start with that book because what if I don't succeed on the international market? And that's what's keeping me down. Like, which book should I start with? The decision.
Yeah.
And it's complicated.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll write a romantasy and I start with that.
Yeah. Or start with whatever people that you're selling to now like. The writing is good, you know, and then it's just getting good translation. I'm sure you'll do well as long as you just, you know, move forward and do stuff. You know, the answer is always no if you don't ask. You know,
Exactly.
so if you're out there doing it, you're gonna, you know, you'll make some things. I know people have a lot of opinions and stuff, but you know, one of the things I loved about David Farland was as a mentor, he was very much of do it. And the reason I chose him as a mentor is he was the one who taught Brandon Sanderson and thing. And I was like, well, if Brandon learned some things from him, I could certainly learn some things from him.
Oh, yeah.
But what I really learned from him the most was do it. You know, you know, you're not going to get anywhere if you don't do something. So he was very strong on it, and I was like, okay. So I've always been. Now it's like if I think of something and I'm going at it and I'm passionate enough about it, I just move forward. If it doesn't sell, I learned more
Yeah, you
skill in
learned a lesson.
writing, nothing else. So anyway,
I think I'm finally into that mindset.
good. Jordan, I'm really excited to have you on, and I don't know if the next one will be early because I sort of flip them back and forth to catch.
Yeah, it's okay.
Give the West Coast people.
If it's somewhere in autumn, I'll probably wake up.
All right, you would Rosemary. We got a bunch of people now who are from over that side of the pond that are trying to, you know, get to these. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you as well. Thank you all.
All right, bye. All right, so we're going to close out with Mr. Rob. Rob, how are we doing? And what do you have going on, Rob? What's coming up?
Chaos, absolute chaos. That's what's coming up. Always in my life is chaos. There's something going on. It's one thing or the other. Beyond the Red Line was one of the most challenging, exhilarating, wonderful, crazy experiences that I think I've ever had. I enjoyed it. It was humbling to see just a little bit of what goes on behind that curtain on that side of I'm just used to sending people my stuff and going, hey, you like it or not, rejection or acceptance, and get back whatever, either rejection or acceptance, mostly rejections. And by the way, everyone who said, collect those things, I love all of my rejections because I've always gotten sometimes, well, for the majority of it, I've gotten feedback. It let me know exactly what I'm doing wrong, from an editor standpoint, from reader standpoint, and it's always helped me improve my work. So I love getting feedback from people, and I love seeing things that don't work because it helps me actually improve my prose, help me improve, writing. And here lately, I write and then I submit stories that I think they fit. Sometimes I just write stories because I don't really fall into certain genres with specific stories. I've never beaten horror writing allegations. I'll never beat those allegations of being a horror writer. I love writing horror. I like the psychological aspects of it, but it's I write different things, and when I saw Kevin's Rebels, I was like, I have the perfect story for this. It is something that I had written already, and I submitted it. But then, like for Dark Spores with Chrome Grows Press, I was presented with, this is what we're writing for, and I wrote to that, and it got in there too. So it was a lot of. I'm always there's a cauldron next to me, but a pot that's got stuff bubbling always, and so I'm writing that. I wrote a novelette like my second year. I'm like in November it'll be 4 years I've been doing this, and it's been a whirlwind. It's been busy, 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 busy. I will be at Multiverse this year. If anybody else is coming to Multiverse, especially anybody that's going to be in Beyond the Red Line, let me know. I know some people will see this later. Let me know if you wrote in it and you're going to be there, so I can kind of gather artists and Kev can kind of gather artists and let people know that you're going to be there, get some stuff signed and stuff like that. But Beyond the Red Line was, the idea. Most people here know what redlining is. If they don't, they can look it up. And it's a concept that actually transcends America. Really, we have what we have here, but the people being divided for class or for other reasons, and not getting the better end of the situation, or either at least equal rights for the situation, has happened everywhere. And sometimes our country, where I live at, has been the kind of creators and bones, and giving people kind of the roadmaps to how those systems work, because they really did a really good job in this country, unfortunately, of integrating systemic bigotry with their systems, with everyday systems. I mean, we can go back to like children's cartoons and everything, I mean, like nursery rhymes, everything. But I digress. The stuff that I'm doing is we're finishing up Beyond the Red Line. We got a Kickstarter out. Kickstarter is graciously doing pretty good. I'm really happy to be a part of it. I enjoy reading all the stories. Myself, I'm continuously writing. I'm diving into screenwriting. I'm going to be working with some people here pretty soon. Like I said, in October, I'll be at Multiverse. And I am also going to a secret convention, and I'm not telling anybody. We're going to go until a bit later. We'll kind of get closer to it once I kind of get everything hashed out. But I will be there most likely. I'm at 98%. I will be there. And I got some stuff coming out next year with Undertaker Books, who's a fantastic publisher. All of them over there. I love them all. Yeah. And just writing, just continuously writing. There's nothing else that I can really do but write.
So what people don't know or don't recognize or understand, I think, about Beyond the Red Line is how it happened. Okay? So
Right.
so I got an email from Rob, and Rob, tell me what you were doing.
So Beyond the Red Line started as the Horror Writers Association has this pitch kind of thing going on, and I tried to pitch it to them. They didn't accept it, which is fine. Then I was going to work with 2 other publishers, and we just couldn't get the timing right to make that work. And so I told a friend of mine who, if you've seen the cover, she's an artist, and I said, "Hey, I had this idea for Beyond the Red Line." This is even before I pitched to anybody, and she took about 45 minutes and created this work that I was like, I now have no choice but to make this happen somehow. I go through all these processes to try to get this picture like that everybody else does. They send things out, they get it for pictures and everything, and it gets rejected, and it goes to the next person. And I was thinking, I think I kind of want to approach Kevin with it. So I sent an email and I was like, "Hey, look, I have this idea." I gave Kevin my pitch, and there was no other words other than yes. Let's do it. Yeah, let's do it. And this process has been so cool that I'm gonna be talking to Kevin later. He doesn't even know this about a few other things that I might have some ideas about, that he might be interested in.
Yeah.
But because that's how my brain works. It won't stop. It won't stop. We're all writers. We understand that it just will never stop. Sometimes we get in a space, which, by the way, I really enjoy playing games as well, and I'm going to find time to take a break in playing games. I think it helps my creative process too, like being able to do things outside of writing helps my creative process, and being in spaces where there are different characters and people and conversations helps me, create things. But this is like that Kevin has been so encouraging, and being in different anthologies with him and Talented April. Oh my goodness. Like, I learned so much just being in those anthologies, but this has been insane.
Yeah. Well, coming from my side, I put out this anthology, Rebels, and I'm rather annoyed at the present state of the system as it's turning its, volume to 12. And I'm like, okay, I really thought we were going someplace different, and obviously we're going here. So I'm a little annoyed and pissed. So I do Rebels, which was my way of like being like, hack the oligarchy, blow up the fucking castle, you know, wear the masks, whatever, we didn't need to do this. Rob comes in with a story that's like dead fucking on target. And I'm like, oh, hell yeah. But then he comes back to me and he's like, and I'd like to do this project. And we'd already worked on Rebels. We did the whole bit. We were done. And he's like, I'd like to work on this project. And it's about this. I know people have rejected it because, they got this and this. I'm like, oh, fuck no, yes. Fuck no, yes.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, because I'm reading it, and it's like, from where you met me, Rob, is not the shit that I want to see out there, right?
Right.
I mean, it
Right.
isn't, it isn't the, we do all kinds of stuff at Ink. We have all the different pieces, but yes, I love a good, something that gets in the face of the system and says, take a look at this motherfucker. And instead of just saying, oh, okay, yeah, we don't want to annoy you, we're just going to sit over here quietly. And instead of once in a while, I'm like, no, I want to fucking annoy you. I want to prod the system with a fucking stick. And Rob said, here's a stick. And I said, oh, yes, please. Thank you. So anyway, that's where this all came out. And so this is Rob's brainchild, but I was like, I was so into it. And we got another friend of ours that is pitching another one that I'm like, oh, hell yes.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yes.
Oh, yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
waiting for her to get back around to me. But these little projects are my, little sticks that I like to prod at the big nasty monster with once in a while, knowing that, I'm not turning it over or pushing it aside, but nothing else. It gives us a written history of, we didn't just say yes. We didn't just, lay here and say yes. You had to take it from us, kind of stuff. And we wrote it down to make sure you knew that. So anyway,
What was interesting? One of the other things that was interesting about it is that, and it made me, and I went in the forward I wrote, I mentioned it, was I wasn't expecting, because there were specific stories that I wanted. I wanted stories from an indigenous perspective. I wanted stories from immigrant perspectives, because these policies are affected those people as well, and these policies continue to affect people of all different backgrounds all the time. I mean, systems that have been in place
Yep.
for neighborhoods that have not been touched or fixed. Many different types of people live in those neighborhoods still to this day, and live in those areas still to this day. But what I wasn't expecting was the international aspect of it. And it's just like, well, it is something to think about because, like I said, some of the things that we've done in this country in terms of like discrimination when it comes to housing and healthcare and all that kind of stuff were blueprints for other countries to follow. And not only that, but because, we're still teenagers basically of the world, that stuff has been going on for a very long time.
Yep.
For whatever reason, you might have people that are the same people, cousins, uncles, brothers, and have different hair color and eye color and have split themselves for what, for whatever reason.
Yep.
And so while I wasn't expecting it, I probably should have.
Yeah.
And some of these stories that I got in, I was like, there's no way I can say no to them.
Yeah.
I got to put them in. One, because I can do, we're doing whatever we want in this situation.
Yeah.
I'm doing whatever I want. And number two, I think it's important for everyone to see that it's not who you think it is always that are being affected by this stuff.
Yeah.
And that bigotry and all of these types of really horrible policies affect everyone.
That's the part.
Everyone.
Yeah.
There are a certain amount of people that are getting super rich from this, but everybody else suffers down the drain.
Yeah.
And in order to actually lift out of that situation, you got to lock arms and lock in. That's the only way to really deal with the situation.
Yep.
And that's everybody who at the bottom rung. You have to.
Yep. So I'm excited that we're going to have that. We're working on edits now. We're going to have that cleaned. We're going to have that polished. We're going to put it through the proof. We're going to get it out. I'm really hoping we get it out by Multiverse. I can't imagine we wouldn't. It would take some real glitches not to make it printable by then. But I'm confident that we're on it, and when that needs to be codified out in the world, and so that we can just take that book up to a local meeting where they're having their says, and we can just walk up to the front and slap it on the side of some people's heads.
Hardcover. Hardcover. It's a hardcover. It's got to be a hardcover, though.
Because we need these words out there. So anyway, Rob, thank you. And I'm looking forward to Multiverse coming up here soon so we can sit and chat a little bit and meet up with some others and all that kind of good stuff. And I know Sarah's got something going on, but we don't know. But I was on the email thread where she's, talking with them, and we'll see if it locks up, and then we can sit there and have a bigger discussion about all of this rebel shit that people just, don't want to hear.
Right. Absolutely.
But in Multiverse, we can talk about it. That's a beautiful part. Is Multiverse is one of the places where people talk about shit.
And I don't fail to mention this often. I am the assistant director of at Multiverse, and if you haven't heard of it, and it's in Atlanta in October every year, I think. And if you haven't heard of it, I shot my information in there, my link tree, all the information there is there about what I got going on, what I've done. It's there, including Multiverse. And it really just is a place to be.
Yep.
I can't say enough about it. It really just is a place to be. And it's hard for me to feel comfortable in large spaces for various reasons.
Yep.
And it's my home con. I love the place. I love what's always going on there. I love the positivity, and I love, everything about it. So if you've never experienced it, it is an experience. It's not just a convention, it's an experience. It really is.
Yep. And Inked always has a link up on its page because we sponsor it. So
yes,
and
I was about to say that too. Yes, link.
So,
Inked is a sponsor, and a wonderful too.
Yeah, it's the best, guys. I have taken you for 1 hour and 40 minutes, and that's longer than we've ever done before. And I do apologize for some of you guys for doing it, but I'm really grateful that all of you showed up. We had a huge list today. We had some great conversations, and hopefully you can make some connections with this too. So as you go along, if you're if you see, most of these guys, you'll see me share this stuff or their spotlight or something like this, jump on there and be like, hey, really great seeing you on this thing. And, I'd love to connect this way. Connect, guys. Visibility, connections, all that stuff. These are the places. This will get up on YouTube, and then I'll share it over to Facebook. I'll try to do that tonight when I close off of here, the record. It is going to go into the mode of, once I close off of this, it'll go into the mode of compiling it. It takes a while. Then I have to come back here and share it. That takes, me actually coming back to this machine, which I do, but it'll probably be tonight sometime. Okay, guys? All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, folks. And if you got any on the YouTube or on the Facebook thing, if you got more comments, throw them in there. It's, all fodder for the content for all of us. So do it. If you got something else to say, or you forgot to put a link, or you want to put a link, don't be shy. I'm not going to be like, oh my God, you're putting stuff on my page. Screw that. Put stuff on the page. Say, come visit me. Whatever. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. I'm going to cut off record now. Bye.